So, some reflections on the use of the Caravan after a full week. Some things that have surprised me a bit. I've used the shower every day in the Caravan. I love it. It's not exactly a jet wash, but it's just lovely to be able to. It's like having an ensuite, which we haven't had for a long time. That has meant that I've had to fill the water barrel up a lot more, but I've managed to work out how to get the flow just right. And what I didn't realise was that I thought that if it ran out of water, it would go cold, but what it doesn't. What happens is it gets gradually colder as it pulls in cold water from the barrel into the hot water tank. It just, so you get plenty of warning that you need to get on with it. Yeah, so water, a lot more water we've used, but we've made good use of it, which has been fantastic. We've been able to wash up and wash our hands a lot, obviously, that being especially important at the moment.
And we just love the Caravan, don't we?
Yeah. We haven't used the TV as I expected we would. I haven't even tuned it in.
No.
We've watched a couple of episodes of Young Sheldon every night before turning in, but that's been it. The mobile internet didn't turn out to be quite. I've got it all set up, works fine, but it turns out that however good your signal, if the, like this is O2, the bottleneck is O2 themselves, and that they don't provide much bandwidth, even if you've got a fantastic 4G signal. But that's been fine. We haven't really used that much of it. George has watched a bit of Netflix, haven't you?
A bit of Modern Family.
But otherwise, that's been fine.
Look.
One thing we've learned is ideally don't park under a tree if there's rain in the forecast.
Yeah, and also, oh yes,
and
because
pine cones, huge pine cones.
And we've got quite a lot of cleaning to do on the roof.
Yeah, but in the night, if it rains in the night, I will sleep perfectly happily through a regular pitter-patter or whatever of rain. But when it comes through the leaves of a tree, it'll end up being concentrated, so you get this irregular sort of bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, it says the wind blows, isn't it?
And that makes it really hard to go to sleep. I had a decent night's sleep last night, but we haven't really had many because it was so hot to begin with. And then we've had rain, so we've probably not had a fantastic night's sleep at any point.
No, last
but that's
night was
not
the
the fault of the Caravan.
No.
That's worked nicely.
Love the Caravan.
While we wait for George to return from the toilet, this is my window opening device that I 3D printed and designed myself. What happens is it goes onto the window frame, or the wall, and then this bit here just holds the window open a little bit, taking the strain off of the catches. We haven't used it that much because we needed the windows more open than this would allow, but it also needs to be a bit thicker. Otherwise, that's worked nicely. I've been really chuffed with that. It needs to be longer, but I have to persuade Peter to let me buy a bigger 3D printer to allow that. So, votes in the comments.
I'm back!
So George has just used the toilet, which is interesting because we need to quickly discuss toilets. We've used the toilet a lot more in the van for number ones, but not number twos. We can't quite bring ourselves to number twos. But the way that they've done it here is that it's the wristband system. But about halfway through the week, they appear to have slightly given up on. Well, they've changed their policy. When it started, it was 3 wristbands per gender, per toilet block. But later on, it seemed to me that they doubled it and put 6 in. 6. So in other words, there was a wristband. There was 1 wristband per cubicle, whether that was a shower or a toilet, and that's worked nicely. It's been fine, not been a problem. There are lots of people messing around, and I'm sure some people have kept their wristbands back at the Caravan so they can just bypass the queue.
I think Caravan Club had to put a system in place, and this was probably the best system they could put in place. But whatever system there was going to be
abused by somebody.
Yeah.
But so that leads us nicely onto our review of Southland. Southland. Is that what it is?
It's Southland Park.
Why don't you just call it Southland?
Okay.
It rolls off the tongue.
So it's Southland Caravan and Motorhome Club site, which is near It's in Newchurch, but that means it's, I mean, everywhere's near on the island, but it's nearest to Sandown is the closest beach to here. And it's probably about, except when there are roadworks, which are at the moment, probably be what, 10 minutes?
Roadworks at Lake, but normally it would be 10 minutes to Sandown.
So we're going to grade it in the same way that we graded the ones we visited last year.
Yeah, like
And the first criteria is location, by which we mean the general, where it is in the country. And we've given it an overall.
We're going to do individuals.
Well, you can, if you wish to give your own separate ones.
Can we do
and then
individuals?
but the score on the screen will be the average.
Okay.
So I give it a 5 out of 5 because I love the Isle of Wight. I've been coming here since a kid, and it's got everything. It's just a pity you have to go on Wightlink to get here.
Yeah, and I give it a 5, and a week isn't long enough.
I give it a 4 because, and my father has called me ageist in the past for saying this, but it's a bit run down and it is surrounded by water. I don't like
It's in the
water.
nature of an island, really,
It's an
isn't it?
island.
So I don't like
There are
islands.
most seaside towns in the country are, or a lot of them are, have their iffy areas, don't
Yeah,
they?
well, regardless, we give it a 5.
But overall,
average.
the average is 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next one is facilities. By that we mean where you do your poo-poos and your wee-wees.
Well, I do everything that the site has,
Yeah.
and we give that 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yes, because, well, we all gave it a 4, really.
It could do with another toilet block, because the problem with the system is that whereas at Rooksbury you have 2 sets of bands for 2 sets of facilities, here everyone is using, and it's probably roughly, might be a little bit, so I'll have,
Might be a little bit smaller than
but
Rooklands, but not by much.
Rooksbury.
Rooksbury, sorry.
But otherwise, got a fantastic play area, it's got a nature area, decent dog walks, not quite to Rooksbury standards, some walks off the site that are nice, nicely kept, all nice and flat, easy to
lovely.
get around,
Yep.
super duper.
Yeah, it could use another toilet block.
Staff,
We all gave it a 5
Big
out of
5.
because they're very, very friendly,
Brilliant.
very helpful, and just all round great.
Lovely.
we've
No.
interacted with all 4 of them at least to say hello to, I think, at different times, and they've just been brilliant, all very cheerful.
There's actually 6,
Is there?
but only 4 are named, so I don't really understand what that's about.
Names,
but-
so the other 2 don't have names then?
yeah, the other 2 are anonymous.
They're just
But yeah, there's 6. I've
thing
seen
1,
6.
thing 2.
They're a credit to
Yeah, fabulous.
the Caravan and Motorhome Club.
Alright,
Yeah.
next one is value for money. Father, what did you give that one?
Well, this is the value for money for the holiday, not for
Now
Southland.
for this.
Because in order to get to Southland, you have to come across the water, and so you have to factor that in. In terms of the 8 days here, they're very good value, especially since the VAT was reduced. It would have been a couple of £100.
£200.
£200 for 8 nights
Yep.
in August.
Yep. Fantastic.
But
value.
unfortunately, with the ferry, more than doubled that.
And of course, we've got that nasty taste in our mouth this morning from not being able to change the
Yeah.
crossing time.
So we've given it 3.5.
3.5.
Yes,
But-
she gave it a 4 for some
Yeah, but I
odd
thought we were just
reason.
talking about here, not the holiday as a whole.
No.
Did you give it a 3.5 or a 2 or 3 or whatever?
3 probably.
Right, she gives it a 3, so it's a
So-
3.5.
The holiday experience overall,
5.
we're all giving it a 5, aren't
All
we?
given a
Yeah.
5. It was a great holiday.
We've had a lovely time. We're going to see if we can find another, persuade some poor devil who wants to have a holiday to open his music shop so that George can play some of his instruments.
Wait, no, that makes it sound so selfish. I'm thinking about buying one of his mandolins. They're both reduced. One of them's reduced from £190, the other one's reduced from £200. They've been reduced to £100 and £120, and I'm thinking of getting one.
So
I'm not just
whereas
going into
at the
play
first
some of his
music shop,
things.
I had to spend some money because I felt so guilty we wasted this bloke's time. This time might actually be George's money he spends, which would be nice.
And £10 of your money, possibly.
We'll have to see about that, won't
And
we?
it would be good if you remember your wallet.
So we're still going to, we
You're
haven't quite
right.
finished today. We've still got to go to
The music shop.
Appledurcombe,
Appledurkham.
I think it's Appledurkham, which is a ruined National Trust house.
Is that piano?
I believe they've put a roof on it now
We might be able to see red squirrels. That's the reason
to
we're going.
prevent further ruination. But it's just a lovely place, and there's red squirrels there. Yeah.
And then we're going to go into Newport to find this music shop, and then we're going to spend the afternoon with Peter's parents. Before we
And
get
cream tea.
packed up, we're going to get the awning away tonight, and then get rained on tomorrow.
Okay.
Apparently. So overall for the holiday, so that was 5 out of 5, and so overall we have graded the holiday as a 4.5, and I would put it as nearer 5 than 4.5.
Yeah, George
Yeah, we've had a
George
lovely
went
time.
4.7, didn't he, by the look of
Yeah.
it? Or is that just a squiggle?
No, that's a 7.
Okay.
I would happily have stayed longer.
I would
Yeah,
not. I'm
this
kind
has
of
just gone too
excited to go
quickly.
home. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, well,
to
there's
go
always that mixed feelings when you get. We've never ever as a family had more than last year. We had, was it 8 days we had in the end?
10.
Whatever
Yeah,
it was.
because we cut it short because of that storm coming, didn't we?
We've never had like a 2 or 3 week holiday, but we found that actually we've got into a routine a bit here with the caravan, and I think that makes it more likely that we'll find it easier to have longer trips or trips more often later in the year, on future occasions, because we found that this caravan is perfect for our needs. Really, nothing we would change. So, wish us luck going home tomorrow. I'm not worried. I'm not finding much less concerned than I expected to be about. The caravan is so solid, and I didn't have any real worries about taking it on the ferry. But I suspect tomorrow's going to be a bit of one thing that the staff have agreed to very kindly is they've said that we can use one of the late arrival bays if we can get into it in time tomorrow morning, so that we can get off and leave, because our ferry isn't till 4, and there's just nowhere really to go.
They're full this week, so they can't allow an extension for us. But we can just pack up, move round to the late arrivals bay. There's electric there, so we can hook up and put the steadies down, and then continue to pack up there, or go off somewhere for a couple of hours and have some lunch, and then pick the caravan back up to go for our ferry.
Which is very
great,
handy, because
yeah.
I don't know what we would do otherwise.
And there's 4 bays there. Although it'd be a bit tight, wouldn't it, to get 4 in there? But
We've only ever seen one in there, so
there,
we should be all right.
And they were there until they were catching their 7 o'clock ferry in the evening, and that must be a really common problem here. You see a lot of camper vans parked on in car parks.
We found one
all around,
lay-by
don't
we
you?
might be able to get into, but wouldn't want to guarantee we'd find it again.
Yeah, or that there wouldn't be a truck in it.
Yeah.
But worst case scenario, I think we would have just gone to the ferry terminal early, because there is plenty of room there to just pull up on a
given how cross we are with
side lane.
Wightlink at the moment, I wouldn't have minded just squatting there.
Yeah.
Down to move
And I
aside.
guess that is also what a lot of people do. They just arrive early for their crossing, and if they can get you on an earlier one, I suppose they do. I don't know.
Without charging you more.
Don't know.
Anyway, yes, I'm sure they do charge you more. I think
Monty.
So, we've had a lovely time.
Yeah.
It's been a lovely holiday, and you know we're looking forward to, as you do, getting home and sleeping in a big boy's bed.
Hello, boy.
Having a shower in a big boy's shower,
Oh yeah. Will be lovely to get back to our shower.
and finding out whether my allotment is still alive. So, from all at Clueless in the Caravan, please do comment, click the subscribe button and the bell for notifications.
And click the like button.
I said that. Check out George's channel.
Yes, check out my channel in
Is
the
it
link
one
in
or
the
more
description.
channels? Just the one, is it, at the moment?
Yeah, just check out the one channel George partner in the link in the description. From Monty,
Who will get very silly on camera.
Monty, George,
Peter.
Kev and Dizzy. It's bye.
bye.
So, we left you on the penultimate day of our holiday discussing our plans to drive home. We are now home, 2 days later.
And that is evidenced by the fact that there are beautiful blue skies today.
Yeah. So yeah, it was horrible. It was every bit as horrible as the weather forecast suggested. But, you know, anyone who's been caravanning for any period of time knows that at some point you're going to have to be packing up in the rain. The unique problem with the Isle of Wight is that whereas on the mainland you would just pack up and go as soon as you possibly could, with the island you've got to be at a specific place at a specific time. So the point was to arrive in time for the 4 p.m. sailing, which we were booked for. Take it away, Peter.
Well, we thought we were booked on the 4
Well,
o'clock.
we were.
We were booked on the 4 o'clock, but on the previous day, Kev had suggested that we try and get a late night sailing on Tuesday night, which we didn't, and
because it was 50 quid.
Yeah, because of the oh, did we talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we left it that we would call back if we wanted to make the change to our reservation. Wightlink made the change to our reservation, so we pulled up yesterday at Fishbourne Terminal, and the guy did not have a reservation for us on the 4 o'clock. He said, no, you were supposed to sail at 9 o'clock last night. So that resulted in one very cross Mrs. Partner on the phone to Wightlink yesterday. Oh my goodness.
It was brilliant.
I rarely get that cross.
It wasn't me that was in the firing line, so that was excellent. I like it when it's being aimed at somebody else.
I said, I'm going to phone them now. I'm going to phone them now. And George was going, no, Mum, just calm down. Don't cause trouble.
He was being the mature adult.
He was being very conciliatory in the back seat. But no, I stopped off into the terminal. Of course, because of COVID, Wightlink is still handling that very seriously. And there is no staff on the ticket desk at Fishbourne. There's a machine where you can buy a ticket. And
well, hold on.
You can phone up to buy a ticket.
What initially happened was you rang them from the car. Didn't you?
I rang them from the car to establish that we were no longer booked on the 4 o'clock and that they couldn't get us on
because
the 4
there was even a
o'clock.
balance outstanding, just to rub salt into the wounds.
Yeah, the £50 balance for us to travel on the 9 o'clock was still on our reservation. Oh yeah, I missed that bit out. Yeah. So I stomped off into the ticket office because...
So, hold on. At this stage, we were going to have to sit in a... bearing in mind we'd arrived at 3 o'clock.
And we were wet.
We were now sitting in one of the reserve lanes for what? Not the 4 o'clock, but the 5 o'clock ferry, which was the first one that they said that they could get us onto, having released our 4 o'clock slot without telling us or asking us.
So then I stomped off into the...
We're so keen to get to that bit.
into the ticket office, and I only had the reservation line number, so I phoned that number and went through to their customer service team and pleaded my case. Their explanation was that in order to get a quote for an amendment to a reservation, they have to make the change to the reservation. So she had, the lady who I spoke to on Tuesday had actually changed our reservation and booked us on the 9 p.m. Tuesday night crossing and not put us back to where we were actually booked. Silly system. And the guy said, you know, it wasn't a deliberate thing, it was a mistake, but whatever the cause of the error, it was Whitelink's error. And they did handle it quite nicely because they refunded 50% of the crossing value, which was not an insubstantial amount of money, £60. So my blood pressure started coming down at that point. And he also suggested I speak to the port manager. And the reason why I'm going into this detail for you is in case you ever find yourself stuck at Wightlink Terminal, not being able to get on the ferry that you thought you were booked on. If you make a big enough stink, you can get on the ferry. So not only did we get a 50%
you went and found
price reduction, I went and found the port duty manager and got us on the 4 o'clock ferry.
Well, we didn't know we were going to get on it, did we? He said he'd do his best.
He said he would try and get us on it, but as I said to Kev, I've been travelling on the Isle of Wight ferry my whole life, and I have never been on a ferry that had every single space filled. There's always some space there for emergency vehicles. Obviously, if the ferry is about to pull out and there's a space and there's a car there, they'll put it in that space. But there is always some give there for emergency
We're not entirely
services.
sure that we were actually supposed to get on that, are we?
No, because we got
a
on
random-
quite early on.
A random bloke, classic Wightlink employee.
Quite like this. Do you want to get on this ferry or not?
It was basically that, and we were thinking. Oh, I was barely ready. I was thinking, well, we'll have to wait until everyone else is on before
Yeah, we thought
we know
we'd be
whether we'll
last
get
on.
on. But he called us on amongst the first few cars, the first few long vehicles that got on.
Yeah.
So we don't know whether some poor devil got left on the
Yeah.
quayside.
So if you're watching this and you were not able to get on the 4 o'clock ferry, expecting to be able to yesterday, I'm really sorry. But that wasn't our fault either. It was Wightlink. It's all
I mean, we
Whitelink's
haven't
fault.
travelled with Wightlink for years. Not because of problems like this, but it was always seemed to me to be a little bit decrepit compared to. And also, we like the sailing on the Red Funnel a bit. Although it's longer, it's a nicer trip.
Yeah, although the new Wightlink ferry,
is,
Victoria
yeah,
of
Victoria's
Wight, is
fantastic.
very nice, and
And we were feeling really
it's a nice
positive.
quick crossing.
We felt really positive about the whole Wightlink experience, right up until the point when Peta rang on the penultimate day. Yeah, I mean, it was sitting there facing the prospect of sitting for another 2 hours in wet clothes before we could, with a
car full, 2 exhausted dogs, and they
3
were
exhausted humans.
And George trying to get his head around the fact that we were going to have to sit there for 2 hours was quite amusing.
But then we had a problem-free journey back from there. We had a really nice fast one, and I feel really confident with the Caravan. There was no problem. If you're worried about taking a Caravan on a ferry, honestly, there's nothing to it.
No,
Really
it was a
nothing
piece of
to
cake. And there was 2 caravans yesterday, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So on our
Both Bailey Pageants.
outward trip, no caravans at all, just us. And today, yesterday, it was like caravan twins.
Because-
Theirs was a champagne and ours is a Vendee, but
They're both
to the
Series
casual viewer, they look the same.
I put the handbrake on this time on the Caravan because I thought, and it was a bit windier.
It was bumpy at times, yeah.
But we left a note on the seat to remind ourselves to take it off again before we.
Yeah, we put a notice on
But it was absolutely
the
fine.
front driver's seat.
It's a nice Caravan, and combination with the car is absolutely fine. So I'm very confident with future trips.
Good. And we've just been out to the Caravan this morning in this beautiful sunshine holiday weather. We're both wearing our holiday t-shirts. Kev's wearing the t-shirt that he wore for an entire holiday once when we went away,
'Cause I took no
and
t-shirts.
he took no t-shirts with him. And I'm wearing my new holiday tee, which was sitting on the doorstep when we got back yesterday, that I had ordered to take with us. And it's actually called the Holiday Tee by
Overall, though,
Weird Fish. No,
absolutely,
the other one.
absolutely brilliant holiday. Would recommend Southland
Yeah.
for anyone. The staff are tremendous. The site is lovely.
And we'll just say a special little
And the
hello
island
to
is
Debbie.
brilliant. Yeah.
Debbie was extremely helpful on our last day. Thank you.
And the island's a great place for holidays. We knew that already, but we could have stayed. Next time we're going to stay for 2 weeks, I think, to make the ferry cost worth paying.
Because we're glad to be home, but we wish we were still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
Better weather as well.
So we're going to say goodbye now, because when we get home... Oh, yeah, I was just saying, we've just been out to the Caravan to get all the beds stripped and the dirty laundry back to the house so that I can spend the rest of the day doing that. And to bring home all the musical instruments, because, of course, we went with a travel guitar and a baritone ukulele, a soprano ukulele and a concert ukulele. Don't ask why, but if you've watched our previous
That
episodes,
was
you
the
will know.
minimum we could get away with.
Yeah, and we've come home with an additional mandolin that George bought yesterday.
What a farrago that was.
Yeah, but
I won't bore you with that.
no, we got there in the end. So George is very happy. He's at home playing his new mandolin, and I expect you, if you go over to his YouTube channel, you'll see a bit of that later on. So we'll say goodbye for now. We're hoping to get another sneaky trip into Mournhill before back to school in a few
Been there
weeks.
this year.
No,
What's
we've
going
got to
on?
go to Mournhill before back to school. It's traditional. So we'll leave you to this beautiful sunny day and say, from Peter and Kev, a clueless in the Caravan.
Bye.
Bye.